Right. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, that's the Department of Economic Affairs Secretary, Mr. Shaktikanta Das, post the interactive session the Finance Ministry had with FPIs. And some of the key takeaways include that the discussion was broadly centered around market development, widening the investor base in order to increase the retail participation, whether it's to do with equities or onto the bond markets. For the Nifty, just keep your eye on it. It's recovered a tad bit. So now the Nifty is approaching that 8250 mark. So the intraday chart of that should also come up. But before that, we've got the management of NIIT Ltd joining in to talk about their earnings. Mr. Vijay Thadani, the Vice Chairman. Mr. Thadani, is our audio clear to you? Mr. Thadani, good afternoon. Would you like to try?
Mr. Thadani, can you hear us? All right, we'll perhaps reconnect with Mr. Thadani, but just to give our viewers a sense of the numbers for NIIT, a profit growth of about 102% seen on a consolidated basis. The net revenues also grew by about 5%, and the EBITDA saw an expansion of close to 40%. Margins expanded by 260 basis points, but most of that was also priced in the stock, because that stock has surged about 200% in the last 1 year, doubled investors' returns in this year itself post the new management took over. And also a big kicker for that stock was Skill India, because if you look at it, last quarter itself, their skills vertical, which contributed about 15% to the revenue, was a laggard but turned profitable. And we'll have to wait and watch and ask Mr. Thadani when we reconnect with him how that vertical behaved, and were there any orders coming in from the skills vertical as well. And also they were pretty bullish on the corporate learning vertical at the same time. But if you look at the market right now,
by the way, just before that, let's focus on Intellect Design Arena, and let's try pulling up that stock, because the revenue guidance for the company has been revised upward to 26 to 30% compared to their earlier guidance of 22 to 26%. So on the numbers, we only have it on a year-on-year basis, where the revenues have gone up 44% in dollar terms. It's a 34% increase on a year-on-year basis, but we're still trying to get hold of it on a quarter-on-quarter basis. Okay, those are the numbers. 207 compares with 193 crore. So that's fairly healthy, and the net loss is also narrowed. But we managed to reconnect with Mr. Thadani, the Vice Chairman of NIIT Limited. Good afternoon. Can you hear us?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Okay.
Your volume could be a little higher, but
okay, let me try raising.
I can hear you.
Okay, it's a good quarter for you, Mr. Thadani. Could you give us a sense of how the coming 2 quarters will look like in terms of revenues, in terms of margins, as well as profitability?
Yes. So it's been a good quarter because I think we have stayed close to the projections we had made for ourselves, as well as what we had shared. Our strategy is unfolding exactly the way we had come out with it, and Rahul, the Chief Executive Officer, had shared that strategy in the last meeting. And the strategy is unfolding at the pace at which we were wanting it to. So the corporate business has been rock steady and at 15% growth and 12% margin, and that's the same trend that we see as we go forward. We've added a marquee customer this quarter in terms of Citibank, which we had announced just a few days ago. And in the Skills and Careers group, which is where the real turnaround action was happening, I think it was a 3-phase transformation that we had shared. So we are now in the 3rd phase of renewal, and that's visible not yet in results but in actions. And in results, we are back in black and back to growth, which is what our own projection was. So in many ways, we are on that strategy, and I think for the rest of the year, we believe we will remain on this path.
All right, you spoke about the Skills and Careers business turning around. So could you give us a color on the numbers of the Skills and Careers business? Could you tell us what the revenues were from that segment, the same time what the EBIT was?
Right. So the Skills and Careers group, first of all, had a growth of 1%. This is the first time we have seen growth in this business after many quarters. The overall business was at 104.5 crores, and it has also broken even as well as made a small operating profit of 6.9 crores. So that is the first time in this quarter that we had seen a positive EBITDA as well as positive growth, and this is as a result of the restructuring exercise which it did in Q4, as well as the re-energization effort that we have seen. The renewal phase has just started, as you would have heard about NIIT.TV and StackRoute. Those two very, very path-breaking announcements, and NIIT.TV is actually a very disruptive announcement. The benefits of all these we will see in the coming quarters.
All right, then could you give us a sense of what kind of revenues and earnings are you expecting from this? Could you give us a sense, Mr. Thadani, of what kind of revenues and earnings are you expecting?
I'm losing you again. Sorry.
Rima, you would like to try?
Mr. Thadani,
I can't. Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. So after turning around for the skills segment and reporting a profit of 6.9 crore, I think my colleague wanted to find out what the way ahead will be. Can you improve your financials from here on? Any targets in terms of numbers, if you could share?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, the corporate business is on track for a 15% top line and 12% margin. And the skills and careers group is also, as you can see, just turned around. So the team is quite confident that we would be able to achieve an overall for the year back in black and back to growth.
All right, and what kind of revenues do you expect from NIIT.TV, which is the new launch?
No.
What kind of revenues do you expect from NIIT.TV, which is the new launch?
Again, I lost the sound.
Okay, Mr. Thadani, any revenue forecast from NIIT.TV? Okay, I think we've snapped the connection there. But if you could hear us, thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us. But let's shift focus to Mapstech Limited. We're now joined by Mr. Sudhakar Ram, the MD and Group CEO, and he's here with us in the studio.